talk much tonight. So the purpose of this meeting is to kick off our budget process. Anthony has put together a PowerPoint to carry you through some of the items regarding the new budget process, where we are, what we anticipate, revenues, economic trends, etc. And just kind of get we want your input tonight if you have any goals or objectives for the budget, and we'll try to meet those. With that said, I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening. Nothing like starting off a new budget year, so
Can we just do this?
yeah, it seems like we just got everything settled for last year. So what I like to do every year, I kind of call it the State of the Union, but it's not really. It's our union. It's wonderful. So I'll go over what we're seeing within our budget and for the current year, and then highlight some areas of concern or opportunity, or how you want to put it, for next year. So it's a good time of the year. We're halfway through, so what I'd like to do is we'll start off with the revenues. I'll go through the revenues for all of our major funds, and then I'll go over our expenditures, and then we'll talk about fund balance and factors that may contribute to next year's budget. So I'll try to be brief. If you have any questions about any of the items I have up here, you also have in your handout, there's an area placed on the side of your handout to take notes. But if you have any questions, just feel free to ask while we're going through, and I don't want y'all to get bored with me as we go through the presentation, so feel free to ask me. Like I said, we'll start off with the revenues in the general fund. They are on target for this year. As of the end of January, today we've completed 58.3% of the fiscal year, and revenues are currently at 78.5%. A lot of that's because a big portion of our revenues come from our sales tax and property tax, and property tax bills are due the 1st of January. So that's why it's a little skewed. It'll taper off as we get toward the end of the year. You also have our interfund transfers. Those are funds for transfers for services from our various electric, water, sewer funds that basically are reimbursements for services that general fund employees do such as utility billing, payroll, things of that nature. So that's why we have these transfers in here. You can see that this year it is 16.6% of our budget. This is an increase of 3.8% over last year. And part of that is because we've consolidated some departments, so that amped it up, and we haven't seen a lot of growth in our general fund budget. So as you increase the one number, the other number stays constant, and percentage goes up. Property tax revenue is already at 99.78% of the budget for the year with regard to collections. That's pretty good. We had with the reval this year. You don't have to hear me talk about reval during this meeting. Last year it was full of reval issues. So we're moving past that. Vehicle property tax is a little bit concerning right now. We are off about $5,000 a month less than what we budget, and I've talked to the county about this, and it appears that we don't really know why. Last year we had this great big surge in sales, and motor vehicle tax was up high, and now it's leveled out. So we've had an increase in the tax rate, which theoretically you would have thought would bump it up. But right now we're lower than what we budgeted. In fact, the numbers are running right in line with what they were last year. So we anticipated growth, and we're not seeing that growth at this point. So we may have to come back and revisit this line item as the year goes on and we get better numbers. Local option sales tax is currently at 50.8% of the annual budget, so we're on target there.
Let me stop you for a second.
Okay.
Did the Pitt County indicate why that may be?
I
mean, because we had an increase last year, assuming more people bought vehicles. Vehicles aren't going to depreciate for so much in a one-year period.
Correct.
So you would think we would be getting the same.
And that's the assumptions I was operating under when we wrote the budget. Now, in communicating with them, they're on a 3-month lag. So 6 months into this, we're still, the first 3 months think at the end of the year, we'll still be off $5,000 a month. It'll be a number less than that. And also, we'll see how car sales work at the end of the year, and if they'll pick up. But yes, I wasn't anticipating to be in this situation. Like you said, they didn't give any indication on why they were constant. They did defend the numbers that they had.
I'm sure they did.
Utility franchise taxes are lower than what we anticipated, by $10,600 for the same period of time last year. So that's not, while it is the largest sum of money overall, I think we'll get some of that back as we get into the last two quarters.
We have to pay county back so much this year, those back. We pay it back.
Refund the county? Yes, we do.
Much.
I'll have to get that. I don't know that
We'll do
figure.
that.
Yeah, we'll have to get that figure off the top. I don't know off the top of my head.
Each,
It's a monthly. They take it straight out, and we.
and it's because of the hospital,
That's right.
that was a nonprofit.
And we had an audit, from the county on the sales tax, and we worked with their auditors. That came in from High Point, I believe, Greensburg.
The thing about that budget this year, that money's got to come out.
What was it about roughly just under 100,000?
Yeah.
That we had
For the
paid
total,
back?
and they gave us a certain number of years to pay it all.
3 years.
And Anthony, what we'll do in the budget is adjust the revenue.
That's right.
Back.
So here's a little chart I put together, just reflecting the various, our major revenue sources. Our vehicle property, our property tax, you can see we have, a slight increase. These are as of June 30th for 2012. So you can see it's been relatively flat with just moderate growth over the past 2 years. The vehicle property tax, you can see here, it was very flat and actually decreasing a little bit. And then last year we had that big bump that we weren't anticipating. Sales tax, this was 2009. Kind of hit a peak there, and then Pitt County kind of ran a little bit behind the rest of the state and the nation when it came to the recession. So we lagged a little bit with regard to that, and this is an indicator that supports that. And you can see we're just now getting back to almost to our 2009 level with regard to sales tax. Utility franchise tax, and you can see it's tapering off just a little bit, just slightly. And then our total revenues are up overall. The recreation fund, there are no contributions from retained earnings this year. Historically, we had used some of our savings to pay for the debt service. We exhausted all but $7,400 of that, and this year is the first year we've paid for that out of current revenues. So there's no pulling in from fund balance to pay for that. The recreation fund is equated to 63.8% of the budget revenues for the year. And of course, many of the program revenues, such as baseball and softball and things of that nature, come in the spring. So we'll see that rise. Concession sales and so forth. Our ledger fund, the ledger fund has sales revenues that are currently ahead of expectations in the amount of $3,177,000. Revenues are at 53.53%, with 50% of the year being so even though we're at the end of January, and when I was building this report, we only built out 50% of the year, so you can see we're ahead there. There are currently no contributions from retained earnings in the ledger fund to balance the budget. Again, water fund slightly below target, with water sales at 48% for the year. Current sales are at $361,827. Of course, the spring again, I expect it to come back because people get out and start washing their cars and watering their lawn and become more active in gardening, things of that nature. We'll see sales increase there. So I'm not really concerned by being down just a little bit there. And of course, your sewer fund is pretty much in the same boat. They run off water sales. They're based off metered water, so sales are at $801,942 for the year, 48% of the budget. And again, no retained earnings used to balance that budget for the year. Stormwater, you'll see that when you get your bill this month, it'll be back. And so everybody questions. It's been 2.5 years since we built it. Initially, we swapped that out with the increase in the garbage fee of $2, so it was a net, no net change on the utility bill this year. We had basically depleted all the fund balance that was in that fund, and it was time to start that back, and we implemented half-year. Retained earnings in the amount of $25,494 were used to balance that budget this year. The expenditures, general fund. At this point in the year, we have only have minor budget amendments. We've only had 2, I believe. I would expect at least one more when we get toward the end of the year to true everything up and get prepared. We don't want any violations on our audit findings and anything of that nature. So we'll make sure we get everything prepared. The general fund has spent 52% of the funds that were appropriated. The recreation fund is currently on target, but actually they're a little bit below target with 34% of the appropriations having been spent. Again, a lot of those program expenditures are coming right here and now. I'm sure Evan's been working hard and getting prepared for the spring. $219,550 of the $645,000 budget has been spent. The ledger fund, purchase for resale line item, this is where we buy our energy from Progress and transmit through GUC. So far this year, we've purchased $1,832,000 worth. We have $3.6 million, almost $3.7 million.
And our rate to Duke Energy has say the same to what year?
2007.
I said over the mention the renegotiated contract with the municipalities in Wilson County, but within years ago we could go with them. Changes there a little bit.
The total expenditures is at 45.72% for the appropriation. The total budget is $6,188,000. Water fund, total expenditure at 65% of the year. Purchases for resale are at 40% of the budget. For the year, about $50,000 out of $125,000 having been spent. The water fund budget is $858,000. Sewer fund is currently at 52.9% of the annual appropriations. The MSD expense is 54.38% of the annual budget. So this increased 7.4% over last year. I believe the majority of that was due to an increase in debt service payments that we had to pay CMSD. The sewer fund budget is $1,507,000. Stormwater spent 85.3% of its annual operating budget of $170,000. This fund is above the 50% mark halfway through simply because of the large transfer from the general fund. That's a one-time hit, and so the rest of the year will level out, and we should be pretty good there. And again, that's for services. That's for the employee who's actually under public works, and we reimburse the general fund for that. So our fund balance status, as of June 30th, our unassigned fund balance was 44.86% of the annual operating expenditures. Our group average for a town our size is 48.56. The original appropriation for fund balance to balance the budget was a small $18,000. If you remember, several years back it was a much larger figure, so that's come way down.
And if I recall, that was last minute due to the library.
That's correct. The fund balance percentage represented for the general fund indicates recreation funds also. So those are, when you look at fund balance, those are combined in there. So as far as reserve goes, I alluded to this earlier, recreation has $7,400 set aside in their reserve account. The Powellville has a cash balance of $1,031,000. Those funds are restricted. I think most everybody here is quite familiar with what the restrictions are on Powellville. There are quite a few. So we have a USDA reserve. This is at $111,817. That is for police fire rescue facility. Every year we have to put 10% of that annual debt service payment into a reserve account until one complete annual payment is covered in the reserve. So I believe that's $140,000. So we only have a few years left to go on this, and we won't have to continue to sweep that money in. The unrestricted retained earnings in the amount of $3,688,000 or 59.6% of the annual operating budget.
And municipalities like Aiden cannot use a certain percentage of their money.
That's right. Due to their relation to the powers.
You know, the counties in the west were part of that bill. The first one to have that restriction was Smithfield Selma. And this past year, they went up the whole state. And then the municipalities in the west were taken off the bill, and it only includes the east. It's unfair bias. But those who owe the debt.
Right, all right.
Of the $1 million in the Power Bill fund, how much do we have projected to go out of that between now and the end of the year? Or do we, or preserve none?
I think,
Do we know? Oh,
how many
I
projects
don't
we
know
have?
off the top of my head, I think we do, potentially have some, definitely some patching and then maybe hopefully some resurfacing. That hasn't been done in over a year
Are we gonna list the streets coming up spring?
for resurfacing. Yes, sir. We'll come up with those, get them out to everybody and see if we're all in agreement about moving forward. Excuse me for coughing.
Water fund has retained earnings in the amount of $1,009,798. It's a little over, it's 18% above the annual operating budget. Sewer fund has retained earnings in the amount of $905,826, or 52% of the annual operating budget. That's what A and B represents their annual operating budget. So, as we look forward to next year, one of the things that we just talked about was the motor vehicle tax collection process, or the fact that we were down this year. That whole process is going to change starting in July. So currently the county's been collecting that and distributing the funds to the individual municipalities. That will shift to the DMV, and no longer, people will have to pay when they go to the DMV to get their tax. So the process will change.
They'll pay the taxes and about it. License plate.
Yeah, that's correct.
Wow. It's gonna be a big surprise, aren't they?
One thing that's going to get rid of is having 3 months in arrears of money, so hopefully there'll be some changes in the first half of next year as we receive money that were, related to the prior year, and then start getting money that's already being collected at DMV, so we get doubled up there for a little while, we'll have to address that.
So we argue with the DMV about the value of the park. I mean, now we argue with the counties about the value of the vehicle. And the value of DMV.
As far as valuation is concerned, I'm not.
Yes, I argue with Pitt County all the time.
Well, I think that's what they're doing,
Yeah, I would-
evaluation.
Because all people say they have a company out of Chapel Hill that values the cars across the state. They aren't all going to carry. But we can argue unless
They're probably supposed to do the evaluation, DMV will do the collection.
I can get more detail on that for you. I'll be glad to send that out. I just know they're not 100% sure on how everything's going to operate and how everything's going to flow, but they have a plan. In theory, it'll be better.
It'll depend on how fast DMV gets money back to the municipality.
That's right, and we don't know that yet. Now, just so you do know, I think typically the collection rate on motor vehicles is pretty low. It's around 86 to 87, sometimes 89%. So the anticipation is to get that collection rate up higher so that municipalities get more money back and in a more timely fashion. So hopefully it'll go as planned. The aquifer reduction, obviously is going to be an issue for our water fund next year.
We skipped over one.
Oh, yes, we did. Thank you.
Has Jeff indicated why are they expecting an 8 to 12% increase?
Jeff, I spoke with Jeff earlier this week, and his indication was that's pretty much what they're seeing the market do. We know that 2% of it is just a premium for the Affordable Health Care Act. So initially, we got 2% right off the top for that. So, last year we had a relatively low
Well,
increase.
that doesn't take effect to 2014.
he was saying 2% of this is related to that.
I would say for that much.
The reason I asked him, we had a 1.8% increase, which is the smallest it's been probably in 6 years.
Remember it today.
And, oh yeah, I was jumping up and down. That was,
I think we were at 6%.
it was nice, and I just was kind of expecting that we would see something similar here.
I think last year we had a 6% increase, and he was anticipating 10 to 15 last year. So
Yeah.
hopefully,
Yeah.
you know, I asked him, when I asked him the question, I basically asked him what kind of decrease we might have, and he started laughing, so. He thought it was pretty funny, but, so ultimately, I know out in California, places like that, they're seeing on an individual basis, they're seeing, 15 to 25% increases. So he's saying group policies are a lot more stable, and we won't see those types of increases.
Have you asked the municipalities what their increase is?
Uh,
I would survey it. I'd call each municipality if they can, so their increase was this for information purposes.
And again, we don't know for sure yet.
Yeah, and these are just,
Yeah, these are
sorry, these are just
projections.
preliminary.
I
Yeah,
think they ask them if they have any information.
Normally, April is when we start to see numbers get refined, and they look at our census and give
Your
us,
renewal with the fiscal year,
yes. So we're talking 6
so
months
you're
out.
several months out.
5 months, yeah. January's gone. Yeah. We got, but yeah, sorry about skipping over that. Insurance is a huge issue. Again, back to the aquifer, we're having another reduction coming up this year.
And hopefully we'll have about 11 to our representatives, see if they'll look at that, see if that's been affected in the last few years, and see if the reduction is still necessary. It might not be necessary.
This reduction will happen. It's happening in August. It's the one in 2018 that has some very minor chances, maybe not happening, I'm not sure. But
Well, there were three reductions.
We have one,
Right, this is the second
correct.
upcoming.
And then we just confirmed this another 25%.
Right, well, wasn't it 25, 25, and 25?
Yeah.
That's right. The good news, no new debt service coming on next year. We didn't take out any new debt during the...
Yes!
That kind of excitement we like.
That's how I feel at my house when we take out no new debt.
So we have, just throwing some other things out there for conversation, just to make everybody aware. We're not sure. We don't anticipate any changes with Progress Energy and Duke, but that issue, as that merger completes, that issue is out there. Changes at CMSD is always, always a subject that has to be looked at. We have,
And I do think we will have some additional debt service coming on board, so,
with CMSD.
yeah.
Yes.
That will
We'll
let
have to-
the annual
We'll have to flush a little less.
that we make.
Since we're just mentioned CMSD, we've been talking about it, I say we, for I don't know how many years, about putting meters on each
That's all.
municipalities.
That's all done.
Is it done?
Yes, the only one the only lift station, large lift station, that's not metered,
Magnolia Ridge.
Magnolia Ridge, which is really small in comparison. There's some individual tie-ins to that aren't metered, but yes, meters are monitoring, we're getting accurate readings, have no reason to think they're not accurate, and Winterville is leading the charge to try to have CMSD change the way they
That's what
charge.
my question was going to be, because
They should be using flow-based, and that's what we're trying to.
Once
convince
they
everybody.
compile enough data,
Right.
I think they want to have 6 or 12 months worth of data, I guess, to compare it. And then I think we'll be looking at
do we know any
some formula
type of
changes.
reading they're getting now? I'm just questioning.
I think what we're seeing for Winterville is good. It's a little bit less, so I think, more accurate for us. We're in good shape. Again, it's going to be incumbent upon us to continue to address our collection system, watch infiltration and flow, address those issues. It's an ongoing process, but I do think it'll be better for us. But even if it's the same, at least we know it's accurate. So that'll be the important thing.
And so you're saying they still are studying. When I was up there, we were looking at that flow. So it's been out, what, 2-3 years?
Well, the meters have just been in place in the the last 6
Yeah,
months,
about
probably
6
less
months,
than 6
yeah.
months. So they've got less than 6 months worth of data off of the new meter readings. And still got to do, when are they doing the meter at Magnolia Ridge?
I think it'll probably be on the tail end
I
of the
think this
extension
is going to be on the
process.
tail end, that's right. But that's so small, there's going to be percentages are very low out there at Magnolia Ridge.
So they won't be ready for this budget year then?
I don't know, I wouldn't think so.
No, I mean, we would like to try to convince them to go as of July 1st. I don't know that they'll vote to go that route yet, but we'll continue to try to push it.
Obviously, capital improvements or capital purchases as we move into next year. You know, over the past several years, we've kind of scaled back in response to the economy and trying to take on less debt. So between those two issues, capital spending has been cut back over several years. That'll be something we have to look at as we move forward. Housing permits, just a general tidbit here. Thanks to Alan, he gave me some numbers this week. The planning department was telling me that they've increased housing permits from 23 in 2011 to 32 in 2012. So
Better than nothing.
yeah, it's hard to give you the percentage, so it'd be great big, about 28%, but I felt like that'd be misleading.
Business faces coming to work part-time. Retired a couple years ago, they wanted 2 officers. If you put in today, it's a 2-3 week process to get information back. That's why I hope we have a business face.
This is a slight increase, and there's no current indicators out there to provide evidence there'll be a drastic change one way or other. We're not seeing anything that's going to say, okay, we've got 50 new homes, 60 new homes going to be built next year, or vice versa. Nothing indicating that it's going to sell.
Quite a few homes being built out on Bedford Road.
Some other information, the unemployment rate for Greenville is expected to drop from 9.8 to 9.2% for 2013. This is from Mike Walden, he's an economist at NC State University. U.S. Department of Commerce has stated that Greenville still has a negative 0.3, so basically flat in job growth since the start of the recovery. Not the recession, but the actual recovery. So I don't know how far that dip down before we got back, but so we're basically back at the starting point. Tax reform is a hot topic in the state legislature, and they're considering going to some sort of sales tax base, get rid of income taxes. Not sure how far that'll go, or if it'll go, or what the implications will be there. Will it affect sales? If it does, when will it take effect? I'm not sure that it would happen within a year, but they are working on that, so that's another external factor. And overall, the economists, nice one at East Carolina University and Mike Walden with NC State, pretty optimistic on the potential for growth coming up. I don't think we're going to see anything gangbuster, but they do have a positive feel for the information they're putting out and providing to people. So I'll stand by for any questions.
Just a reminder, if you will, Councilman Moore asked me to give an update on the extension of Winston and Franklin Street. If you'll recall, the utility portion of that project was budgeted in this year's budget, and we took the equivalent of, I believe, $44,000 out and transferred that to general fund so that we could basically do a total rebuild of the box on our leaf back truck, which is scheduled to be completed, and hopefully we will be retrieving it at the end of February. Having said that, I think that leaves only about $12,000 and some odd dollars left in that account. So obviously, as reported earlier, we will not be doing that project this year, but it's certainly on the list to include in the next coming budget.
We had more per bid than that total.
That's total utility for those two.
There's other money available, right?
Right, but I mean, again, it would all be reappropriated in the new budget.
I haven't heard anything else from our last meeting about the not coming out.
fair share of the library, the $500,000 in the library. The only reason we're getting 35, we would only ask 38, but we don't know who was asking for 38.
We didn't ask for any.
If they could, Scott couldn't tell him who was asking for the 38. They didn't know. So we don't have representation. We don't have information about who in town uses it versus out of town. It's used a lot. We need to ask for a lot more money. It's not fair for our citizens to have that kind of expense when people outside use it also.
I'll contact Greenville to try to figure out what the requesting process is. We didn't make any direct
It's a
request.
nonprofit, and Scott did not know what nonprofit was, so. Anyway, just information.
Are we at the point where we talk about what we see required to say? Well, I got two requests. Well, the first one is $50,000 for housing. And the reason that I'd like to see $50,000 allocated for housing is that we have a lot of houses that need demolition. And we have, our code enforcement has not been able to do anything because of these houses. We also have a lot of citizens that are on the list with the county for repair to their homes, and they've been there for years. We talked about code enforcement. We've had the Wooten Company to look into CDBG grants. They said that we can get funded for that. And the participation in the home project is not brought about the demolishing of any house in our community that I know of. I don't know of any with the Pitt County program. We do have these houses in our community. They are vacant and they're decaying, and summer's about to come, and we see things going on with them. The house on Tyson Street, if you go by there, if you look at the unit, I think that someone, I don't know, think the unit's sitting ajar, which gives you the idea that maybe some vandalism has occurred there. I know that Reverend Church is supposed to be looking out for it, but it does sit ajar. There's a house on Mill Street just sitting there, just going down. And I know, we're going to get on board with code enforcement with the new person. There are some structures that are owned by senior citizens. And these people, I know that they can't afford, they're living in a house, they can't afford to get a house demolished. But I've noticed that in our neighboring community, they've used their housing money to demolish homes. And we haven't done that. And I do believe that if we would do it, if we had done it since I've been on the board, I've been on the board now for 6 years, if we had taken care, and some of these houses have been sitting for 6 years, if we had taken care of one house per year, we would have 6 houses gone. And honestly, we'd be just about through with all the houses that I know of in town that the owner cannot demolish. When I was looking at the information we had from the Rural Center, the statistics for our town, it said we had 80% home ownership in Winter. And I think that's something to be proud of because it was the highest in Pitt County. And I don't feel like we need to punish our seniors because they don't have the money to demolish a house with, because most of them, they're living on fixed income. And I've watched this board over the years. I saw 1 year we found $10,500 for recreation. Another year we found $21,000 for historical society. So to add that to it, it shouldn't be a problem. This can only benefit our community. And I wrote all this down so I would remember my points. Nobody dictated anything. And the last thing that I want to say, I like to see a separate line item for economic development. And I know we had some money set aside, but I think that we need to do a major focus on that. Those of you, you look at the paper every week or so, we see in all of our neighbors around here, they're getting on board big time with economic development. And I like to see that happen in our community. We need jobs, we need businesses, and we need industries for our citizens to work in town. We're growing, but if we're not staying in the race based on our side. We seem to be lagging behind. And so those are my two things that I like to see included in the budget this year.
15 years ago, there was a survey made with the planning board. The number one issue, of course, was recreation, facilities for recreation. Number two issue was our downtown and the way it looks. And of course, Dayton and Fargo both have been, they've had their downtown. We have not. We follow behind sister cities in doing our downtown area. So my thing is downtown area.
And part of that has to do with the location of our downtown. If I were downtown, we're on Mill Street, I think that it probably would have been different, you know, being facing the railroad. It's kind of like hidden from, you know, and everything, but of course Aiden got Main Street money. Aiden's got money that we didn't have to do our downtown with. But even with that, we need to take a focus on that, because I do think that, you know, a small town atmosphere that we promote ourselves as, it could be promoted even more if we had a little bit of a different focus downtown. We've already had this plan drawn up.
Downtown is packed during the day. The library and the businesses.
And those restaurants get a lot of business. I know that.
We're very fortunate.
Both of those restaurants, and as it gets warmer, you know, green spaces and things like that would be really good for people coming into town for the restaurants and stuff like that. I know, you know, the antique shop, you see a lot of people in and out there and everything, but a lot of people don't even know what's over there, you know, they go by there.
Well, this board several years ago voted that every lot west of Mill Street would be zoned commercial on a lot-by-lot basis. And to my knowledge, there's been 3 lots that have been made commercial. Then one of those was reversed by the board and went back to residential, and he's got a business going out of his house. So that's one thing that I've heard, just like at the intersection of Main and Depoy, there's been approaches made there about that corner being all the way from there, I call it on the north side of Main, all the way over to the church. Inquiries have been made about businesses going to that. That would be great if they would get it.
We talked about the downtown area for a lot of years now. We had Rivers draw up plans. Until we decide that we're going to spend some money on downtown, it's not going to get any better. Business owners are not going to put forth the financial responsibility to upgrade that, so until we take a step and decide that we're going to have a 3-year plan, obviously we can't do it all in 1 year, but we talked about this at the same table last year. You know, I think we need a 3-year plan, take the plans that we have, start implementing some of those things. The other thing we need to do is, and I know Terry, I think, and some other folks in this room have had some conversations with the landowners. There's a lot of land down there across from Fullerton, and I would imagine that most of that land is probably going to be commercial or is commercial. Alan, wouldn't you say so? Is it going to end up being, is it all commercial now?
Wintergreen Commons?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually zoned industrial, which would allow any of the commercial uses.
Well, when we look at areas where we want to grow, you know, that is a prime area right there. We are somewhat of a bedroom community. We're not going to get so much business in this town. But that is a prime area, and we need to, you know, I realize we've only got a certain amount of money that we could potentially, I don't want to say help them. Obviously, there's some things like utilities that we may be able to help them with, but you know, there's a lot of work that's got to be done down there, I guess, with the Department of Transportation, with the landowners. We could get Fullerton on board. It's not Fullerton now. Roberts, excuse me. We could get Roberts on board. I would think that they would want a road that would go straight out to 11, because they build some large equipment in there. They don't have to make all these twists and turns trying to get out to 11. We need somebody like that to get on board with us, with the DOT, and kind of push this thing. You know, everybody's, like Veronica said, Ms. Robinson, you know, everybody's on board with economic development. Well, there we go. We've got a situation right there. We need to get them on board with us to try to get the Department of Transportation to help us with the road through there. It's going to open up a lot of areas if we can get that piece of land developed out there.
Well, just to give everyone an update, Councilwoman Robertson, you're reading my mind in terms of the line item, because based off the strategic plan that is getting underway, hopefully here in the next couple of weeks, go after, but we're going to be required to hire a staff person to handle economic development. And I think that's where we're going to be headed anyway, for somebody to manage that in the future. The part of what Mary Lily with Greenfield Development's been working on in anticipation of the first task force meeting are trying to identify sites that are potential sites for development so that we can start marketing it. L'Oreal's Road Extension, DOT has already given a letter to me dated May 24th of 2012 outlining everything that would need to happen for them to approve the L'Oreal's Road Extension. We provided that to the developers of Wintergreen Commons. They've been back, kind of looked at it. They have submitted preliminary plat plans for staff to look at and try to move forward. The problem with that is we're still very far apart in terms of some of the details that have to get hammered out on that. Some things are going on, but again, you're exactly right. We've got to move forward with that process, but it's going to be a drawn out kind of a lot of things going on at one time process in order to make things happen.
What kind of instrument are we going to use to get ourselves out? I hear about CDs, data. I guess the CD probably has something like a PowerPoint data or whatever on it. What are we going to use to do it?
I think ultimately you're going to have several avenues to utilize. I know a lot of people utilize CDs, but again, if we did one today, what would we put on? You got to have sites, you got to have buildings. That are the two major things. If you don't do anything else, you got to go with some product in your hand to be able to say, you want to come, here's where you can go. And that's what Mary's been working on from her professional aspect, and that's what you've appointed these people to help kind of figure out, okay, what do we have, and then what can we add with the quality of life, things that we want to get out there about why Winterville's a place to be, in addition to its proximity to Greenville, East North Carolina, the school, ECU hospital, all of those things, why it's important that if you locate here, you not only get Winterville, but you get a lot of amenities elsewhere, good community, etc. So I think CDs, I think obviously our website needs an overhaul in terms of the economic development portion. So I think there are already several avenues that we can utilize once we figure out what it is we're going to put out there. What is our market?
And I realize that we don't have the money that our neighbor has to develop this and everything. Even on both sides, those two neighbors, based on the amounts that I've been exposed to, that they're putting into economic development. But I would like to see us, increase the amount.
Well, I think you're going to.
Most definitely. I don't know how much. I have no idea how much I would have asked for it. But I don't know. But I know that in order for us to do what we need to do, we got to really be serious about it. We've talked about it. We've given it to the chamber. Mr. Moore, we gave it to the chamber. But we really didn't I don't feel like we put the funding behind it to do what we needed to do.
Well, it's definitely going to take
and the effort, that we got the committee working. We don't need to hamper their efforts by not funding what they eventually come up with. And I know it's not an overnight process. It's going to take time to do it.
But you're exactly right, and I think that the strategic plan was what you charged the task force with. What their role after that will be, I'm not sure yet, but that's their main goal. In getting the product in the hands of you as the council, and then, where we go forward with that in terms of how we market ourselves is going to be critical. And then, yes, it's going to take money and time and effort to make those things happen.
Have we set a meeting date for that group?
We are now, as it stands, an email went out to the group today. We tried to do it first part of February, and schedules didn't work out.
Well, I realize that anytime you have, even our small group here, we have difficulty sometimes setting a date, and I think that group's probably twice as large. But we just need to set a date and go with it.
Well, you would have to have enough members for it to mean
Didn't we come up with this committee in November?
That reminds me of
At our board meeting in November?
Yes.
So we're slowly approaching.
I've met with the professionals.
Oh, okay.
So we're slowly approaching 90 days
Since
we formed that committee.
But Brenda Daniels in the letter said they weren't even on board to work on anything till the end of December. So, and, you know, I've met with them, and again, we definitely don't have to have everybody, but we have to have enough for it to matter. And so I think that we've at least, gotten enough responses back that we are looking at several dates in last 2 weeks in February that one of those will work. We've got folks that can't meet any Monday, we've got folks that can't meet any Tuesday, we're just gonna have to go with the majority of 8 and move forward best we can.
Just forget it. And remind us, we have a day of next Sunday. We have, 10th. We have an historical day. We have, I think 3 speakers lined up. I mean, it's gonna be a good day, and I hope the entire board will come. So the staff, sometimes that good day. It's a celebration. We'll learn about those. That's what we are today.
Black History Month.
We get, we have a few events during the year, people attend, this is one support.
Just a couple of things, while you all are thinking whether you have anything else, I do anticipate there may be some requests for some large equipment in this year's budget. We, particularly Public Works, not to cite any of the other departments, but we have had a plethora of maintenance issues on some of our big equipment. We have spent big dollars.
So we won't have the $180,000 radio this coming year, that'd be good.
Well, that's true, we have some radio money that will be freed up. But I'm just giving you heads up that there may be some requests, and we may try to, Anthony and I figure out a way to have some new debt service. I hate to say that, but just so we can get some of the new.
car in yet?
Yeah, we have ordered 2, and they are not in yet, but they are in the process of being repaired.
No, we actually went back to Ford's. We have an all-wheel drive, which is good because of inclement weather, and it's also V6, which hopefully will get a little bit better fuel mileage in the future. And the car's rated pretty well, so I think the Ford is, I think it's the best one for us at this point.
Historically, we found that those police interceptors seem to.
They do better. The Chargers, we've had some issues with Chargers. So I'll just leave it at that.
Not just one of them.
That's right.
Everybody, Highway Patrol, everybody's had issues with Chargers.
They sound good, though.
They do sound really well.
And the policeman look cool drive.
Good, cool. That's where we were going.
Motion is adjourned. We have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Thank you, I apologize for the coughing. Here.
Ms. Roberts.